नमस्कार, फिर पैसा बोलता है में आपका स्वागत है। पांडिचेरी के बाद अगला इवेंट कहाँ करने के बारे हमने सोचने के बाद ये फैसला किया अगला मीटिंग बहरीन में होगा। 24 में शुक्रवार को होगा। हमने गल्फ कंट्रीज में सारे कंट्रीज कवर किए हैं, लेकिन बहरीन नहीं गए हैं। ये हमारा पहला विजिट होगा बहरीन को। बहरीन से अगर आप मुझे मिलना चाहें तो नीचे किए व्हाट्सएप नंबर और ईमेल आईडी में संपर्क करें। नमस्कार, धन्यवाद, जय हिंद। नमस्कार, फिर पैसा बोलता है में आपका स्वागत है। आज शनिवार है, हॉट टेक्स का समय है। मेरे भाई को पास अच्छे खबर है। इस खबर को के बारे में आज चर्चा करेंगे। हर शनिवार और रविवार तो ये अंग्रेजी में होगा। आज अंग्रेजी में हॉट टेक्स करेंगे।
Yes, the news broke in yesterday's news. This is that Iran was in the morning. Bombs were dropped on Iran on their defense sites near Isfahan, and Iran scrambled air defenses and shot some incoming targets. Some of them landed. Oil spiked, and we saw some initial reaction. So what, Anand?
No,
This is from a Cold War part 2. It's turning slowly warmer and warmer.
it is not only warmer. See, normally I didn't expect World War III. It will be different in the sense that there will be localized conflicts, and the major powers will fight a proxy war. But Putin decided to take on directly and attack Ukraine. And once Ukraine was attacked, the entire Western world got behind Russia. And China is now supplying material to Russia. So the Western world was supporting Ukraine. And the Chinese are supporting Russians. So you are fighting slightly more than a proxy war. But at least it was contained to one corner. Netanyahu, that is the Israeli Prime Minister, wanted to provoke a war to hang on to power. And it was basically he who financed Hamas.
Correct.
And Hamas repaid him in kind by attacking Israel, giving him an option to occupy Palestinian land. And there was a lot of untold tragedy in Palestine. And thousands died. And Hezbollah and other Iranian proxies were on the side of the Palestinians. And then what Israel did to ratchet up the pressure is, in the Iranian consulate in Damascus,
Yes.
they killed 3 Iranians.
Correct.
And one of them was a top Iranian general.
Yes.
Iran had to retaliate, and so Iran retaliated by bombing Israel. And Israel was defended by the American air defense system, which worked well. And the world was for some days hopeful that the tensions would be dialed down, because the Iranians said that's it, they are not going to do anything anymore. And then at that point of time, Netanyahu decided to show that he is the new Putin by bombing Iran today. So the West cannot afford to keep Netanyahu in power. They need to take out Netanyahu or escalating the war. Now there are 3 trouble spots. There's a Russian-Ukraine war going on. The Ukrainians have no money and no material at this time.
Yes, and the Republican Party seems to be in disarray over that also.
Disarray. And luckily it looks like Republican Speaker of the House of Representatives is willing to jump to the side of the Democrats and pass that aid bill of $660 billion.
Correct.
Which will keep the Ukrainians alive.
Funded, yeah.
And at the same time, Israel and Iran has started this war. And when you go into the Suez Canal, the Yemeni Houthi rebels are also attacking the ships, cargo American ships. And all this has led to a big spike in oil.
Yes.
Brent is trading at 89.90, which means that the Indian basket is about 93.94.
Correct.
Which will put heavy pressure on the Indian rupee. And for the last 3 days, even before this happened, the Indian equity markets had started to correct. And in spite of RBI's best efforts, the rupee was trading at 83.64.
Yes.
And then recovered to 83.51, and I'm sure it will drop further.
Yes.
Because we are recording this one day before. I'm not able to tell you the accurate level of rupee.
Yes.
But the rupee is going to be under tremendous pressure in the coming weeks and months, with crude being very high and gold also going to record highs now, which means gold is definitely going to cross 7,000. This is 7,000 with GST already. 22 carat is going to become 7,000 without GST. And the 24 carat gold may cross 8,000 if this continues.
In the middle of all this, the news is further highlighting the problem Europe is facing. The European watchdog is saying that Europe as a whole still needs a lot of Russian LNG, liquid natural gas. So how is this going to be play into the energy needs? And because winter is going to be upon us in a couple of months, summer will be over.
Even before winter comes, the first flaring point will be the American driving season.
Correct.
In August, which is the summer. And so the gasoline prices are going to be higher. And there is no way inflation is coming down. Now June rate cuts are off. People are betting on March. And June was a certainty. Now June rate cuts are off. And rate cuts have been pushed to September. But with this high crude prices, September is also off. So we may get one rate hike at maximum this year. And the way Jerome Powell is going, there's going to be no rate hike. Which means rates are going to stay higher for longer. And the foreign portfolio investors have been selling Indian government bonds from yesterday. That is because the US yields have gone up. And they want the Indian yields to go up. Which means a lot of debt-laden business is going to be under serious pressure.
Okay. And this new strategy of protectionism which is coming seems really well thought out by TMSC. It says it plans to charge customers for chips made outside Taiwan at a small higher price, incrementally higher. So if you buy it made in Taiwan, it's cheaper.
Yes. If you made it outside Taiwan,
by us,
buy more.
Yeah. Because they're saying setting up cost is plant is very expensive.
Very expensive in spite of getting
full funding
from Biden.
So this seems like a roundabout way of doing make in Taiwan.
Make in Taiwan.
Yeah.
But there's also another problem. Like the Chinese have no demand. So their steel plants are going nowhere. So what now Biden is saying to protect American steel makers, he's proposing a lifting of tariff of Chinese steel so that American steel makers are profitable.
Correct.
And even in India, steel manufacturers are now scrambling to tell the government, boss, increase duty so that we can counter Chinese imports.
Yes.
So the world itself is going through a time where globalization was the key thing. Now the world is looking as protectionism as the main thing. And gold has gone up. And my primary concentration has been on IT and pharma, where the dollar is falling all the time, which is going to give me more benefit. And IT and pharma are going to do well. Gold and gold loan stocks are going to do well. The only other major thing I have done is on fast-moving consumer goods is ITC. And ITC is also going to do well because it's the largest food company in India. And we have been buying small banks, which could be the only weak area because the deposit rates are going up. And Indians are not putting enough money in fixed deposits. So it could be that the banking sector is under pressure. Of course, HDFC Bank has not gone anywhere in the last 1 year, which means banks are going to struggle this year. IT, pharma and ITC will do well. Gold retailing stocks as well as companies which loan money against gold are going to do extremely well at this point of time. This is what looks like to be the scenario at this point of time.
And this other headline which came in, which is goes along the line what you were saying, that there's been froth in the small caps. Now, since August 2021, it's the first time we're seeing small cap outflow, all going towards large cap. Around 70% shift has happened. So
this is because a lot of these mutual funds have suspended the one-time big investments in small cap. And some of them have been restricting even the SIPs in small caps. And the SEBI forced them to do a stress test. So it is basically what is going to be happen